Ice Cream Cones for Sale by Elaine Greenstein. St. Louis World's Fair. Have you heard about the Great Ice Cream Cone controversy? It all began on April 30th, 1904, opening day of the World's Fair in St. Louis, Missouri. There were more than 50 ice cream sellers at the fair, and they say a lot of waffle makers. At some point, the two came together to form an ice cream cone. But who came up with the idea first? Some folks say it was a young man named Arnold Fornich. Arnold said that he ran out of dishes at his ice cream stand one warm day, so he asked Ernest Hamwi at the next stand over to make waffles for him, which he rolled into cones. But Ernest Hamwi, a waffle baker from Syria, said it was his idea. He took one of the warm waffle cookies, which he called zalabia, rolled it up, and offered it to his neighbor. "Arnold, my boy, see if your scoop fits in this." After that, no one wanted a dish. Everyone wanted a cone. So they say. But other people claim Abe Dumar dreamed up the cone. Abe sold souvenirs at the fair during the day, and at night he hung around talking to the waffle makers and watching the hoochie coochie dancers. Supposedly one night, Abe got the great idea, which he shared with Ernest Hamwi, who liked the idea so much he gave Abe one of his waffle irons to take home to New Jersey. So they say. But there were still more competing claims. David Avayu came all the way from Turkey to St. Louis, and on the way he stopped in France. He said he got the idea from all those fancy paper cones he saw in Paris. Ooh la la. But that's not all. A man named Charles Minches claimed that a lady friend gave him the idea after he'd handed her flowers at an ice cream sandwich at the same time. She took off the top of the sandwich and rolled it into a vase for the flowers and rolled the bottom into a cone for the ice cream. Arnold, Ernest, Abe, David, and Charles and his lady friend were all at the fair. But who is the true inventor? None of them. The honor belongs to a man named Italo Marchioni. In 1895, Italo came to the United States with a suitcase and his grandmother's recipe for ice cream. Soon he had his own pushcart in New York City. Ice cream, 4 cents a dish. Get your ice-cold ice cream. Every day from Wall Street to Houston Street, Italo scooped ice cream and then he waited and waited and waited. He waited for his customers to finish their treat and return the dish before he could push his cart ahead to sell more ice cream. The truth is that I couldn't find letters or articles about how Italo actually came up with this big idea, but this is what I imagine. Every afternoon, Italo stops at Louie's bake shop. Perhaps Italo gives Louie a dish of ice cream, and Louie gives Italo a cookie. Maybe Italo uses Louie's sink. Remember, this is still the made-up part. And then one day, a big black dog bumps into Italo, the dish slips from Italo's hand, the scoop flies in the air. Somehow, Italo catches the dish. Louie catches the ice cream on the cookie. Italo can't get the idea out of his mind. Maybe Louie shows Italo that you can shape a cookie when it's warm and that some cookies will bend more than others. Louie starts making cookies for Italo so he can try the idea. Imagine, no dishes, no waiting, no washing. I imagine that Italo sells so many cones that Louie can't make the cookies fast enough. So Italo invents a special mold for Louie to make 10 cookies at once. This last part is true. The mold was great. In September 1903, Italo sent a copy of the design to the U.S. Patent Office so he could stake his claim as the inventor of the ice cream cone. Documents prove Italo was awarded the patent on December 15, 1903, months before the World's Fair opened in St. Louis. Of course, as you know now, that didn't stop all those other people in St. Louis from claiming it was their invention. Probably, as far as they knew, they were first. And to add one more tasty wrinkle to our story, if you look closely, it seems we could be talking about 2 different kinds of cones. Italo's is more like the kind we now call a wafer cone, and the St. Louis version is more like what we call a sugar cone, or, you guessed it, a waffle cone. No matter what kind of cone, everyone agrees on this advice. Lick around the bottom edge of the scoop to prevent drips. Don't lick too hard, the ice cream will fall out. Never bite the bottom of the cone while there's ice cream in it. And there's no better treat than an ice-cold ice cream cone. Yum.